Hey family, hey friends. We are doing another video. We're in the car and I got a stack of emails, so let's get into it. I got one from a Mennonite woman that was extremely interesting to me. Her name is Everett. And Everett says that an incident had came to her mind as it seems that her Mennonite memories are coming back with the vengeance, good and bad. Maybe she means since finding my channel, maybe she just means in general. It's just the time frame that the Father is really bringing things back to her mind to even heal her. Everett from the West Coast says to me, "Thank you, my precious sister. When my husband passed on, my children ignored me. I went through grieving by myself. My daughter, who is still a Mennonite, withdrew my grandsons from me, which were at my house a lot of the time. She wouldn't return my calls, and she basically ignored me. So not only did my best friend, which was my husband, pass away, I was grieving the loss of family as well, getting kicked out of the Mennonite church after 30 years. No wonder it took 7 years for my heart to even begin to heal." Wow. She says, if it weren't for my father Yeshua, question mark, question mark. If it weren't for my father Yeshua, Jesus Christ. She says, you're welcome to read my letter on your channel. She says here that she assumes self-righteous men have mental torments in this life for the decisions they have made. Let that be enough so we could all move on and heal. She validates the pain of anyone who has ever been kicked out, removed, or walked away from a church, anyone who has been church hurt. She says to me in one of her first emails, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but she says, "Hi, my precious friend. An incident has come to my mind as it seems that my Mennonite memories are coming back with a vengeance, good and bad. My husband had a heart attack. He died, went to heaven, came back with a story in 2010, which the Mennonites denied. They denied the story. He was sick often for the next 3 years. Then in 2013, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer." Let me pause for a second. Sometimes I read fast just for entertainment. I want to keep you guys engaged. I want you to hear this story, but I don't want you to forget that the afflictions and the tears and the sorrow and the sadness of Everett's life they're validated. It hurts. It hurts a lot. You don't have your family. You were a part of a church for 30 years. And it says, "We were still Mennonites. Even after he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, even after getting kicked out of church, they didn't attend the church anymore. But their walk with Jesus was as close as it could have been. Her husband woke up one morning and he just knew that if he asked the Mennonite minister to come to his home and anoint him with oil, that he would be healed. He had faith to be healed, and he knew it. So he called the minister and he asked him to drive 45 minutes to our mountain home, because they had moved to the mountains at 4,500 feet elevation, by the way, which was not liked at all because we didn't ask for their permission. Wow. But they did. And when they got there, wait a second. Permission is such a spiritually abused result. When you see the word permission, you know that some man has crossed jurisdictional lines into your will, into your life, and put limitations and boundaries on you that weren't necessary. And that's a red flag. So 4,500 feet elevation into the mountains. They traveled to you. Let's see what happened, Everett. When they got there, her husband asked if they could please pray for him and anoint him with oil. I don't know if you guys believe in that or have faith for that, but that genuinely does come from the scriptures. It is possible, and it is something that is a practical way to express faith. And you can imagine how hard or difficult it was to be in so much pain, diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, having no idea if you would live another day, year, or lifetime. And you've been sick for almost 3 years. Your wife is by your side. You've lost your whole family, and you're saying, please come to me. Please help me. Please lay hands on me. When they got there, husband said, could you pray for me and anoint me with oil? Nope. They would not anoint him with oil. She said, well, I've always been a spitfire, and I still am, and I got really mad. He had already told me to please remain quiet no matter what happened when they got there. So I sat there fuming at their arrogance, fuming at their pride, fuming at their self-righteousness. That is a heck of a battle. And that, your loved one and your best friend by your side, and you're having to stuff all the emotions that are natural. Anger is natural. There's a lot of emotions that had to be stuffed where I was at too. Like if you felt it, you weren't supposed to feel it. And if you're feeling it, it's because you're wicked. So make it go away. Think it away. Change your mind. You shouldn't feel it. Okay. Back to your story. It deserves to be told. Okay. Nope. They would not anoint him with oil. My husband asked, why? Can you imagine? I'm laying here. I have pancreatic cancer. You don't. You have the strength. I'm asking. My faith knows that I can be healed by your hands. Please touch and agree with me. He says, why? They said, because you moved. Because you're not in accordance with the church anymore. Because you don't follow. No, this is real. This is an email. You don't follow church doctrine anymore. She says, that didn't make any sense to me at all. My husband was upset, obviously, but he remained so calm. He was all the time. That was his demeanor. They left our home. I never went back to that church. He did on and off, but as he got sicker and sicker, he stopped going also. He died 8 weeks later. My heart is still broken, and I don't know if I will ever heal, but my Father, Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, is faithful. I am so sorry. And I really hope that even just by the sound of my voice and you telling this story to the 1, 10, 20, or 100 people that may click on this video, I really hope that it gives you the strength to know that you're not alone, to know that it wasn't okay. It did happen. They didn't take his life, of course, but they didn't love him enough to help him live it. That's a lot of pain. Their dad dies. She's grieving herself. Lost her best friend. Lost her whole church. And somehow you found me. When you find me and you find the gleaning room, you find an us. I know that an us isn't the one talking because it's only me. You see me. But there's an us. There's an us that has had painful experiences that we also grow through, love through, and abound through. And the us that's in this together, listening, watching, growing, gleaning, yeah, our faith is soaring. So this is a Mennonite comparison email because this hit my inbox as well. This is actually a screenshot from a Facebook post of a friend of mine. And she shared a story on her Facebook that someone shared with me. And then I asked her, could I read it? So it goes like this. The ministry recently began to encourage cutting off everything outside of that ministry. Sometimes that means family, old friends, co-workers. But the cream of the crop that you have to cut off are ex-church members. So you're hated if you leave them. Hate sounds like such a strong word, but what could cause someone to not even acknowledge you? Except for a hardened heart, ? And of course, with this Facebook post, you can see the emojis, which you can't see on my video right now. But she says, I have seen other current members around my town since departing from that church. And they will sometimes at least give a head nod, a greeting, or even a wave. No, never a conversation, but at least a little bit of acknowledgement. Now, because that's what makes us children of the Most High, to see a person and acknowledge that they too are human and we all have a soul. We're children of the light, right? She said, but this interaction was different. She had one that was cold and it was dark, uncomfortable, and just plain weird. This family who used to love our children, she means our, like her husband and her, their children. The family ignored them like they were nothing. Stray dogs. And that type of rejection doesn't just hurt me, it hurts my little ones, the children. Someone asked in a comment, like, could I talk about some of the things that children have to go through? Like when they do come out of a religious mindset and try to adapt and adjust to the truth, the faith, and a way of life. Like, what are some of those transformations like? And I hope to always answer the comments. Usually what I'll do, if I read a comment that's giving me an idea, I'll store it in the back of my mind, or I'll write it down. I might even put it in the notes in my phone, and I'll just let my thoughts like blossom. And so that's what's happening, of course, with that one. And then I always wait really patiently before making a video. And so this also says, to conclude, this family who used to love on our young children instead this day decide to ignore them like they were nothing, stray dogs, right? Then it says, if we are to be lights unto the world, where was that light today for me? We claim to have the love of Christ in us, but where is that being exemplified? So what had happened was, in her story, was that she ran into a family who she considered to be her friend. And in the recent past, she said, we ate together, we prayed together, we worked out together, we cooked, and we fellowshiped together. I would honestly say that we shared great memories. My 8-year-old at the time and my niece and myself acknowledged their presence. And in turn, they chose to completely ignore them. They walked straight past them like robots, stone-faced, rigid and cold, and not even 3 feet apart in a crowded store. I mean, does this surprise you guys? I ignored my own biological family for 11 years. I had 3 children that my family had never saw or met. I was not associated with how they might feel about that. So we didn't share that. I didn't care if they missed me. I didn't care if they hurt. That was wrong. I didn't care if they were against the decision I made because they were in the world and I wasn't of the world. And so she says here, walk straight past me like a robot. Well, now it's my turn. That happens to me. I cannot complain about it. I did that. I lived a strong delusion. Some say and think maybe there was a falling out. Maybe there was an offense that took place. Was there an altercation, an offense? Was there a fight? Did you say something? Did you really wrong this family? Like, what is the action, the verb that you did? Nope. Nothing. They have done nothing to us, and we have done nothing to them. Nothing. They are an amazing family. We are an amazing family. At one time, they were the nicest people and nicest family that we ever even knew. So she says, what changed? Literally all that changed was you stopped attending the same church. That's it. Like, that's it. We're just not attending the same church. I didn't know until I started the YouTube channel, until some of the emails started hitting my inbox and some of the algorithms started showing me just how much this is common. Like, I didn't know that this was a traditional practice amongst spiritual believers. I was in my 20s when I started practicing religion. And so I adapted it just like any other human. And I actually had another email and another question is coming to my mind right now. I'm going to have to write it down. I'm going to deal with that question. That's for sure. I forgot. Sometimes when someone asks you, could you cover this on your channel? And because of who they are and their character, their integrity, respectfully, you would love to give back to them, you know? So I'll be back. Thanks for listening.